Now, in this video, I'm going to break down a state that you need to enter that will get rid of your ADHD, your ADD, your extra can't focus. And I'm also going to talk to you about a process of what happens mentally after you start to level up your mind. I'll be honest with you. As much as I like to play the tough guy and I'm disciplined and I'm all this stuff, I just enjoy it. That's it. What I want you to imagine is your hobby, the thing that you enjoy more than anything else in the world. I want you to imagine that you're an hour into it with no distractions and no one around you. How do you feel? You're pretty locked in. You're in a pleasant space and state, to say the least. I think about times whenever I get a ball at my feet and I'm playing football with my mates, and it just doesn't matter what problems I have going on in the world, they all disappear for that time. And this is what flow state is. And the reason why flow state is so important is because you can enter this state doing anything. You can enter this state working, you can enter this state training, you can enter this state studying, you got exams, like whatever it is, you can enter flow state with anything. It just means when you're 100% locked into something without any distractions around you, and you will enter flow state. The reason why, let me get to it. The reason why flow state is so important is because it makes boring things fun, or things that seem boring become fun just by entering this state in our mind. Now, how do we trick our mind basically to get in there as quick as possible? I'll give you a real example. I started recording this in my garden and it was a bit noisy. There's a lot of wind and all sorts going on. And I felt myself towards the end of the video thinking, don't know if I'm going to enter the state I need to enter when delivering this. So grab my laptop, brought it inside, and I'm inside. Me getting into that flow state a little bit quicker. That's it. I don't have any noise around me, no distractions. I'm just in. And it feels better. It's more enjoyable. Yeah, it's just a little trick, I guess, a little state that you can put your brain in with anything. Training as well. Try to limit artificial stimulations. I know you may think music in the background whilst you're doing your work is cool and all this stuff, and that's fine. I'm just listening to music. You're getting distracted, and you won't enter that state. For light work and light training, or if you're training with someone, whatever, yeah, a bit of music, part of it, yeah, cool. It's an experience. But when you need to get something done and you want to enjoy it, you need to enter flow state. Number two. See, number two is less of a state and more of a process. So I wanted to explain what kind of takes place in your mind when you start to show up every day. Simple. That's the headline. Show up every day. And what happens, what takes place is that it becomes easier, and it's through a process called adaptation. I'm sure you've heard of it before. Charles Darwin once said, it's not the smartest, nor is it the most intelligent that survive, but the ones who are willing to adapt. And adaptation is just when your body reacts to your habits and environment. Similar to the epigenetics process that I spoke about. Adaptation takes place emotionally, which translates to results physically. So once you start doing something difficult, you start training a little bit more than you did. You start eating things that you never used to eat. You start improving your overall quality and overall you start to look after your health a bit better. What happens is emotionally your brain's a little bit like, oh, this is scary. Naturally, because you haven't been there before. Now, the process is delayed. Physically is delayed. Emotionally, you'll go through it first, and then once it's translated, once you've adapted, your body and your mind has started to adapt to your newfound habits, your whole process, your whole perception of the world, like I mentioned in the last slide, just completely changes. Hard things are fun, healthy food is enjoyable, hard training is uplifting. I was trying to find a different word, but I hope that makes sense. Just difficult processes become easier and more enjoyable. That's the plain truth. I'd love to act like I'm super gifted. I'm really not. I'm the opposite. I've got bad genetics, not that impressive. The only thing I have been able to do is I've been able to enter into my mind and reframe things so that difficult things are enjoyable Competition is fun. Hard training is amazing. Eating the right food is a pleasure. Yeah, for a process called adaptation. I hope that helps. And I don't know why build is there. I don't know who wrote that. Some dodgy fellow probably wrote that. But I'd like to build on from the build point. It's actually represents what you have to do quite well. Because when we enter these states and when we look to put our brains in more beneficial spaces, we have to build on it. And I'm really honest with this stuff in the sense of it's gonna be rubbish for a bit. When you're reinventing yourself, you're trying to become a wise person, trying to become strong, trying to become fast, good at fighting, clever, communicate well. I'll take that one for example. You're trying to learn the art of communication, become a better communicator. There was times, especially in my life, like years, like even about 2 years ago, to be fair, if I put on a presentation and press record, when I first started speaking into a camera about a year ago, I would have had to stop it about 15 times. I would have had to cut it every other second, and I would have had a lot of filler words like and whatnot. I'm still prone to it. I can still do it, but I just do it a lot less, simply because I went through a difficult stage of planning, executing, iterating, doing the thing that we're meant to do, eating the right foods, training the right way, studying, being consistent, and then the truth is it becomes easy. The things that people credit me for now, I find easy. I don't even know why they're crediting me. When I go to the gym and I shred like 5 kg of fat, I can, whatever I'm doing, and people credit me, I'm always like, oh, interesting, because it's not that difficult for me, simply because you go through a little stage of adaptation. Look, I'm not a science teacher. However, I've just been through the process, and it's what it's taught me. Enter these states. As a guy for years, I suffered with just the quality of my experience as a human, and it came from my lack of intentionality and understanding of how to become elite in health. Health is mental, nutritional, and physical, and they all work together. And once we get an understanding of how to optimize each area, our quality of life just improves dramatically, times 10, times 100, everything you can think of. But I never thought it was possible. See, I was always told that I have some sort of disorder and can't focus, or I've got a bad metabolism, my genetics are bad, this, all of these excuses around me as to why I wouldn't be able to achieve great results. And throughout the last 3 years, I've put my foot down to say I do not accept these man-made ideas. I do not accept any of this stuff. I have a goal in mind and I'm going to achieve it. And by the grace of God, I managed to, by implementing some small but extremely powerful shifts in my life. If after watching this, you're interested in delving in deeply into this is 8 minutes out of a course that will take you about 2 hours. Now, it sounds like a lot, but by the end of it, you're going to know exactly how to level up every metric of your health. The micro habits that people like me that don't have good genetics or all of these external factors going on has still managed to lock in. And if you like this sort of stuff, pop a comment in the comments, and I can certainly do more.